Hello everybody, and welcome back to my Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. This is thejonnymar, and we are about to begin and have actually begun the Ice Palace. And this is the least favorite dungeon for a lot of players for a very good reason. And I hope you don't mind me using the fire rod and bombos because many of the enemies in this dungeon are weak to fire. So why is this dungeon the least favorite of a lot of people? Mainly it's because it's very long and complicated, and it actually forces you to retraverse the dungeon a couple of times to succeed. Now, if you're following along with my walkthrough and you've finished up with Dungeon 6, Misery Mire, you knock out all these penguins, then you should have the Staff of Samaria. And this cane actually allows you to bypass some of the backtracking in this dungeon. Now that's assuming you're actually playing the Super Nintendo version of this game. If you're playing along or playing yourself and you're actually playing the Game Boy Advance version, which is what I'm playing, then they took that exploit out actually, and so you can't do that anymore. So for those of you that are playing the SNES version, I will let you know at what point you can just continue onward. And for those of you playing the Game Boy Advance version, or who have, jerks, who have taken this dungeon on before doing Misery Mire, Staffos. You gotta slash these guys and use a bomb to kill them off, as Sahasrara mentions here. So if you haven't done Dungeon 6 and got the Cane of Samaria already, then you can also use the steps I'm going to show you in this video to finish the dungeon. I hate this room. So let's wait, and I'm going to try to kill all these enemies. We need a key from one of those electrical ball guys, and as you can see, the floor is moving around here, so if you use your magic cape, you can actually walk against these spike surfaces without getting damaged. You might be tempted to hit that crystal switch, but it's actually not necessary. You want the red blocks to be down, or orange blocks, I guess. In platformers like Mario games, etc., and in this game, you know, I've always hated the ice worlds the most. I just don't like not having the footing and being able to move the way you want to when you're stuck on a surface like that. It always leads to a lot of death that's unnecessary. And if you don't want to use bombos like I am, you can also use your hook shot. One shot with the hook shot does take these penguins out pretty fast. But as you can see, bombos does an even quicker job of it. Alright, so this is one of the key rooms. To the left is the direction we're going to be going ultimately once we get the big key, but we need to go up first. The floor is going to fall out here, taking us down to the next level. And this is a very large and annoying room with all this ice. And here's your tip for the dungeon. Don't waste magic. It's always a good tip, I guess. To start backtracking now so that we can find the big key. And I think we also need the map too. So use your hook shot to get across here, and then head back this way. And luckily I have the magic cape to protect myself. I do use it quite a bit in here, as you're gonna see. Alright, more use of the hook shot. I remember when I played this version of the game for the first time, the Game Boy Advance version, and when I got to this dungeon, you know, I played it the way I always did, as I'd been playing it for this walkthrough, and I got to the room where the exploit is, and I was so irritated that they took it out. And I'll go over that in more depth when we get there, but how dare they change the game that way and force you to go back and actually backtrack through the dungeon. I guess they had their reasons for doing that. Gotta pull this tongue here to open the door, and this chest should be the map. So as you can see, there aren't really any enemies in this dungeon that are very dangerous, like in Misery Mire, for example. Here's the big key. Alright, so now we gotta find the big chest. Some more tongue pulling. And somehow I managed to sprint there, not quite sure how. All you have to do is cross over here to the left and use one of your keys on this door, and we're back to that key room I mentioned before. So this time we're gonna deke out this little spike ball and go down these steps. Now I never make it on the first shot. Let's see if I can, no. I always end up getting stuck on the steps and not being able to go down. There is an ice guy in here, so get out your fire rod. Comes out of the wall. And you don't want to drop in the pit to the right there. Instead, you want to bomb the floor. And this opens up the side of the room with the big chest. And in this big chest, we're going to get an upgrade for our armor, the blue tunic or mail. So now we get a reduction of a quarter to our damage output. And for those of you playing the SNES version and who have the Cane of Samara, you can just head through that door up there and head down the stairs and you can go on to the boss. For the rest of us, we need to head into this room to the right, because we need another key. Ugh. Let's kill all these guys quick. And then we need to head back through this other room to get back to the stairs that we should have been able to go down and just finish off the dungeon, but unfortunately we can't. So we need to use one key here. And then in this next room is where the switch used to be. You would use the cane on underneath those little smiley dopey blocks there. So you'd use your cane and it would open up the door and you could advance. Bunny. You could advance onto the boss, but with that taken out, now we have to hit this crystal switch, and we have to backtrack through the dungeon. So come along with me as we do that, and I will show you the route you must take. It's not super long, it'll add maybe a minute or two to the playthrough. Dodge. And we will head back up. Anti-fairy. Whoa. In this wonderful room. Now, if you're coming from the other direction, you can obviously just use your hook shot to quickly get through here, but going backwards, we can't do that, so we have to use the cape. And we are going to need one more key, so step on this switch here. There we go. This room actually has a couple of those ice guys that can come out. Alright, and so we're back. So here's that big room we fell into before. So what we need to do is hit this switch to open the door on the left there. And then dodge. And take out this penguin. And actually I could use that. Restore my magic. And we'll drop down the right side this time. And we're back. So let's kill this ice guy, because for some reason he's back, and now we need to lift up this stone. Now in the SNES version, you would have to push some stones off of the ledge there so that they fell below, and then you could use them to put onto that switch. So this room is trying to trick you. If you don't know exactly where you need to go, you can pull on the tongue, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can go to the right there, which is a trap. And all of that is trying to trick you up and make you take damage. So here's our boss, Cold Stare. Now you can use Bombos to immediately eliminate his icy shell, or you can use the fire rod over and over again. It takes 4 or so shots with it. And then he splits into 3, and you have to slash each of these eyeball components of his a couple of times. Now, this battle can get very frenetic because these little eyes are flying all over the place, and you can get caught by those ice balls, or sometimes you just happen to run into one of the eyes and it'll knock you into another one, and before you know it, the battle can be over. I've been pretty lucky so far. I haven't gotten trapped, but oh geez, I'm not gonna count my chickens. Okay, I got one. Get away. Use the potion. Why aren't you? Okay. Whew. All right. So we got one. We gotta get one. Okay. There's the second one, and just run into it. All right. There we go. All 3 are done. And we get our crystal. So that makes all 6 of our first dungeons completed and all of the generic maidens saved. So that just leaves Zelda in our last dungeon, Turtle Rock. You're welcome. Did they now? Mysterious powers. And it seems those powers might have gone away over time. Well, that's too bad. I do seem to still have some pretty awesome power that I can use. There is still something you can do for me. It's actually one of the most important things, and that's open up Ganon's tower for me. Actually, there's an infinite amount of time. If I wanted to, I could just go stand outside and nothing would happen. Yes, I understand. Let's get on with this. All right. So now that we have defeated Dungeons 6 and 5, that opens up an important option for us to utilize, and that is the crack that is in the Pyramid of Power. So when we appeared on the Pyramid of Power, I actually jumped past it to go get a heart piece, but there was a crack in the tower that was unable to be opened by anything, at least anything that we currently had. But now that we have beaten Misery Mire and the Ice Palace, if we go to where Link's house is in the Dark World, there's actually a shop that sells bombs. And once you beat Dungeons 5 and 6, they have a new option available to you, and that is a Super Bomb. As long as you have 100 rupees and you've met this requirement, you can purchase the Super Bomb. And look how it radiates behind you, grows and gets bigger and smaller, just ready to explode. And like anything that's following you in this game, you have to just go at regular speed. You can't sprint or jump off a ledge, because if you do, it'll leave the bomb behind. And let's dodge these guys. And it'll just explode, and you'll have to end up going back and buying another one. So get around this guy. Dodge these guys. So let's take this up to the pyramid and dodge this arrow. And here's the crack. So do a quick sprint, get the heck out of the way, and let the thing do its work. Boom! And in my next episode, I will show you exactly what we can get in here. So as always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.